welcome to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. Thank you so much for tuning in to our segment today on our new segmented time at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm so glad to see you all. When you come in, let me know you're in the building so that I can give you some love, okay? All right. As you know, we always start with our sponsorship. So, our sponsorship this evening is Xeon Starfighters. Are you looking for a new story to read? Something that takes you out of the mundane day to day? Something inspiring and that combats boredom, something that will have you on the edge of your seat with every page you turn, then check out Xeon Starfighters. It's a new book series where ordinary youngsters dive full on into an extraordinary circumstance against a powerful adversary trying to ruin their world. It's either they survive and go on to fight again, or they die and aren't worth mentioning. Come join the action and adventure and see if these youngers have what it takes to become legends. Storybooks 1 and 2 are now available. For more details, if you are interested in purchasing this book, you can get the information below on our ticker. Please think about this book. This is an amazing book series by an amazing author. You will not be disappointed by it. So, as you know, we always deal with COVID. That's why we started the show from home. So, we're going to tell you about the numbers when it relates to COVID-19. Confirmed cases is over 234 million. Like, that's a crazy number, y'all, when we first started this show. Deaths is over 4.7 million. Please, 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 I'm asking each and every one of you, please, that you follow the guidelines of the CDC. Please, if you can consider the vaccine, consider it as an option. If not, just stay safe and just do what you have to do to stay safe during this pandemic. So, as you can see, we're rocking Team Pink today because pink is my power color. It is our power color. And we're hitting off the month with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, as you know, we always kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month with a big old bang. So, we're going to be talking about Pink is my power color. I'm a survivor with my very, very, very special guest, Farrah Sharples. We're going to talk about our experiences with breast cancer and give you some tips and hopefully encourage you to go and get your mammogram because it's very important that you go and get your mammogram, especially women over 60. And of course, if you have history, medical history, you should always go and check and see what's going on. Okay. So when we get back, we're going to kick straight off into the show. We'll be right back. Bible verse, as we always do on That's Life. So my quote comes from Mr. Bob Marley. You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice that you have. Our Bible verse comes from Romans 5:3-5. Not only so, but we are also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a type of anxiety disorder that develops after exposure to a traumatic event. An event can be considered is your first time here. If you're unfamiliar with how it goes, on Friday, we do our resource show where we offer resources to all those who need it. So we offer food, rental assistance, job opportunities, anything that will be able to help the community. If you're looking for a realtor in the Atlanta area, Jamel is your girl. She will make the home buying experience amazing for you. All of her information is below on our ticker, so please utilize her if you're looking for a realtor in the Atlanta area. So we always sponsor this week is Xeon Starfighters book series. Without knowing why they receive strange elemental base fragments or even why they exist, Kenneth Lambert and Richard Troglin will embark on new destinies that will ram them and their opposing ideals head on. Want to know more? Go to xeonstarfighters.com for details and to order your copy of the book. You will not be disappointed. It's an amazing book. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. Thank you so much for tuning in to our segment, the first Saturday of October. Y'all know what that means. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, we had to do a show specifically about pink being our power color. I am super, super, super excited about introducing my guest, Mrs. Farrah. But before we do, I always have to come with stats, people. That's just what I do. So, according to breastcancer.org, as of January 2021, there are more than 3.8 million women with a history of breast cancer in the United States. That's a crazy number, just in the United States alone. This includes women currently being treated, women who have finished treatment. In 2021, an estimated 281,550 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed in women in the United States, along with 49,290 new cases of non invasive breast cancer. And you all know the statistics about 1 in 8. There's 1 in 8 women diagnosed with breast cancer. So keep those statistics in mind as we do our show today. So I am here to introduce my very, very special guest, Mrs. Farrah Sharples. Farrah, welcome to the
Hi,
show.
hi, hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're
Thank
on
you.
mute.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on your show. Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. I can't hear you. See, this is the technology that we live in, people.
Yeah,
We
I'm
live in
unmuted. Can you hear me?
I can't
Oh,
hear you. Well, the good thing is, don't worry. I just got a note from management saying that they can hear you. So as long as the people can hear you, we're good to go. So
okay.
I'm super happy to have you on the show today. We're going to talk about both of our journeys in breast cancer. We're going to work this sound thing out because unfortunately I can't hear you here, but we're going to work it out so that we can be able to hear each other. So it's all good. It's all good on this side. So Farrah, tell the guest a little bit about you and where you are.
So my name is Farrah. I am 44. I was diagnosed in 2011 when I was 33, about to turn 34. I had a reoccurrence in 2018, and during COVID 2020, I had another reoccurrence. I had HER2 positive breast cancer, metastatic breast cancer that metastasized to my lymph nodes in 2018. It reoccurred in my lungs, and again in 2020, it came back again in my lungs. I'm currently doing Herceptin and Perjeta treatment. At this very moment, I have cancer in my lungs, and if there's any progression, I would have to do chemotherapy again for the third time.
And I'm so sorry, you guys. I know the guests can hear you, but I can't hear
Okay.
you. So
Oh
hopefully we're
no.
going to continue rolling and keep this thing
Okay.
going. But Farrah, tell a little bit about what age you were when you were diagnosed with breast cancer.
I was diagnosed at the age of 33 in February 2011 when I was going to turn 34 in July. I went to the gym. It was a regular day. I went to take a shower, and while I was in the shower, I felt a lump in my breast. So it felt like a marble, and the minute I felt it, I knew I had breast cancer. I didn't have to second guess. I didn't panic at the time, but I knew I had breast cancer, and right away the ball went. I had the ball rolling. I automatically called my mom, told her what happened. I was able to find a doctor who had a quick biopsy, and I found out I had breast cancer in my right breast. Oh, you can't hear me. I should do this to know when I'm
Yeah,
done talking,
and
right?
it's just so strange because I can't hear you, but
Yeah.
we're going to figure
Oh
out
my
this
goodness.
technology. We might end up having to take a quick break while
Okay.
we figure out the technology part of it and
Okay.
the technology piece, because this is the beautiful thing about being online, people. We can
Yeah.
sometimes hear each other, sometimes we can't. So that's just the
Okay.
nature of the game. So I know, I'm not sure if you actually said what type of breast cancer were you diagnosed with, and how does that impact you now?
It's HER2 positive metastatic breast cancer. And for those who doesn't know, metastatic means it spreads to different parts of your body. And where I am now is I have cancer in my lungs. Currently, I have cancer in both my right and left lungs. I'm doing treatments once a month, which is every 3 weeks, which is Herceptin and Perjeta. I go to the hospital. They give me the infusion. I'm also on medication to block my estrogen, which is letrozole. So I'm on a journey. I'm still having to go through fighting this terrible disease, anxiety, waiting to find out when I'm going to do chemotherapy, when it's going to happen. Anxiety every time I get a scan, that panic, that worry of, oh my God, did it spread anywhere else? When is it going to spread? If it's going to spread, hoping it doesn't. So I'm there. I'm just, a breast cancer patient. Sad to say, sometimes it's hard for me to even say it, but that's where I am right now. That's my life, basically a medication long term. Now I can't hear you.
No, we're gonna get it
Oh, I
together
can hear
with
you.
you.
I
So
hear
I
you.
can
I hear
finally
you.
hear you and you can hear me. So
Yay!
hopefully we're gonna keep this thing
Good.
rolling and
Yes,
we're not gonna have
yes.
any more obstacles because we're gonna make this thing work. So I can
Great.
understand definitely what you feel because I recently started new medication for my breast cancer diagnosis. And it has been very, very, like you said, it's a lot of anxiety that comes with medication and just what that looks like and what you actually feel. And I think that a lot of times you try to be as strong as you can, but it's very difficult to deal with the fact of hearing breast cancer as something that you could deal with that you have to deal with for the rest of your life. Did you have a family history of breast cancer, or was it just you alone that had to deal with this disease?
Me alone. So my dad's side of her family, I don't know, unfortunately. So I can't say if there's a history of cancer there. My mom said there isn't, but I don't know. As far as a history of it in my family, I was the first to have any type of cancer. And my mom has a distant cousin who had colon cancer, unfortunately passed away. But as far as breast cancer, I'm the only one.
Wow. And I think that was one of the scariest moments for me.
Yeah.
Prior, and a lot of people who don't know my story, some people do know my story, but my aunt was actually the one who had cancer in my bloodline. And
Oh,
it was so weird because she was the only one that did. And then when I was diagnosed, I was the only one in my bloodline, in my immediate bloodline that was. So I can understand what that feels like to have that kind of stress
yeah,
and pressure to have that in general, and then you have to deal with the fact that you're the only one.
correct.
I know you said you have to possibly do chemo again, and that you have done chemo in the past. How has that taken a toll on you mentally, and of course, how has that taken a toll on you physically?
Well, I did chemotherapy twice in 2011, 2018. Not the first time. I mean, whatever symptoms they tell you, they give you a list. This is symptoms you possibly can have with with chemotherapy. And I had everything on that list, from headaches, colors changing, I had dots on my lips, my nails turning a different color, weight loss, all my hair falling out, lashes, everything. So physically, mentally, just seeing myself look totally different. I had long hair. I was going to work. I was really tired, but physically, just waking up and seeing yourself look totally different, no hair, no hair. It was a shocker, but for me, I had to kind of tell myself, you're not going to die from this. This is just temporary. There's a lot of, it's going to get better. There's a light after the tunnel. There was a lot of things I did to get myself through it. I bought a very expensive pair of shoes. I had it by my bedside, and I was like, you know what, girl, in a couple of months, you're going to wear this. I bought outfits. That's how I had myself going. Now, in 2018, I was working, I was going on business trips, I was getting a little tired. And the way I found out was just crazy because I had a vasectomy, and I was taking a lot of Percocets, and I actually ended up going to the emergency room because I had problems with my intestines. I couldn't pass stool. They did an X-ray, and the nurse came to me that night and said, we see that do you know you have cancer? I was like, well, I know I had cancer a couple of years ago. She's like, no, you have cancer in your lungs. And I was like, what? Like, I'm here at the hospital in pain because I'm having, intestines problems, whatever else. And here you're telling me I have cancer in my lungs. So that's how I found out the second time. And everything just happened again, making sure it didn't spread anywhere else, and then getting chemotherapy again. That time was like a blur to me. It was one of those things I got done. But even talking about it now, I'm like, what happened? Like, how did I get through that a second time? It's like I honestly blocked that time. It's like I remember the first time, and then I remember 2020. 2020, finding out it would reoccur again in the lungs, but no chemo. But the second time was just, it was also a shocker but it was more so a lot was going on at that time. My kids were older. I had to educate them about breast cancer. They were able to see it, where in the past they were younger and I could kind of hide a little bit of it. But this time, the second time was tough. I was newly married. My ex-husband was my husband at the time, had to deal with that. So it was tough. The first time was definitely tougher because the chemo was, a little bit more, it was stronger. But again, emotionally, I had to go through the same changes. The same
Yeah,
changes of being sick and tired, losing weight, and hoping that the chemo works. So a lot of prayer, I think, and trying to get as much support as possible.
definitely. And I can understand that story. Much like you, Farrah, the first time was definitely, it hit me, but it hit me a different type of way. This go around, it does seem more like a blur to me. Like I'm doing what I have to do to get through it, but there are moments and times where I kind of forget that I have cancer until I'm reminded by maybe how I move my leg. And a lot of you all know the story with me. You know that I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. It has been a journey. It has been a journey that has definitely taught me more than I ever could have learned, even in the first journey. And typically, when you have cancer, you typically get something out of this lesson. And in this lesson in particular, I'm really realizing just how weak I was. Mentally, I was weak. And going through this pain has definitely opened my eyes to those that are out there that are dealing with cancer. And if you are dealing with cancer, you're going to get through this no matter how difficult it may be, no matter what your tough days look like. You're going to get through this journey. Even if you're just going through a sickness, you're going to get through this journey because you are empowered to do so. You have the power to be able to get through this. You were not given this journey on accident. You were given this journey to have a testimony later. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue on the subject of pink is my power color with my very special guest, Farrah. We'll be right back. Welcome back to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. Thank you so much for tuning in to Pink is My Power Color. I'm a survivor with my very special guest, Farrah. We had a little bit of technical issues a little bit earlier, but we're back on it and we're going to talk about breast cancer awareness and put a spotlight on it because it's necessary to do so. To all those that are in the fight, we are with you. We stand in solidarity with you. All those that are just coming out of this, whether in remission, you went through this, and we look to you for strength. So keep that in mind when we do this. All right. Again, I bring statistics, and look just who happens to be on our stats today. Me and the Power Girl, me and Farrah. So on cancer.org, breast cancer is the most common cancer in American women, except for skin cancer, which a lot of people did not know that. The average risk of women in the United States developing breast cancer sometime in her life is about 13%. There are more than 3.8 million breast cancer survivors in the United States, including women still being treated and those who have completed treatment. And both of us are definitely in different parts, but we're both in a treatment stage. And so it's important to talk about the aspects of that. So, Farrah, what were your initial thoughts and feelings when you were diagnosed? And we talked a little bit about that, but what were your initial feelings when you were diagnosed the first and the second time with breast cancer?
The first time I was diagnosed, to be honest, I was like, I'm going to die. That's it. When I was first diagnosed, I didn't know much about breast cancer. I wasn't educated. I was one of those females that's, you watch TV and you saw older Caucasian women talk about breast cancer. You're like, that's not going to happen to me. I'm young. It doesn't really happen in the Black community. Not being educated, you assume that that was the case. So when I first heard the news on the phone from the doctor, I said, you know what? I'm going to die. And how am I going to, let me start putting all my papers together. How am I going to tell my family? Like, this is, I just have a couple more months to live. So that was my initial fear until I became more educated on it. My oncologist was a great help explaining to me that, look, you can overcome this. There's medication. We're going to help you through this. So I think that gave me a little bit confidence. And I think after that initial thought, I said, no, I'm not going to let this thing kill me. I want to fight till then. I have boys. I have 2 young kids. At the time, one of my boys was 4. The other one was 1. I'm like, no, this is not going to kill me. The second time was a shocker. It was like, what? My lungs? And finding that out, you're just thinking, oh my God, I need my lungs. Like your breast's like, okay, they can take it, you're good. But my lungs, I'm like, I need my lungs to breathe, to live. So again, that same thought, I'm not gonna make it. This is it. Oh my God, spread to my lungs. Where else did it spread? And then I kind of like pause and stop. I'm like, I'm not gonna let this kill me. I have to do whatever it takes to continue fighting this, living and being there for my family. And then the third time, it was like, really, again, this time it was like, oh, now a third time. And I'm like, I was with shock again, but it was more so, not so much death, more so, okay, I got to do something. I got to start eating healthier. I have to start working out. You start thinking like, am I doing something wrong? Am I, eating the wrong things? And so I went into this whole health journey of cutting out a lot of the things that I was eating in the past. I'm eating more healthy. I'm not eating a lot. I'm not eating meat. I mean, I tried going vegan and being a full vegetarian. Can't do that, but I'm not eating any meat. I'm eating like fish and healthier things. So the third time I was a little bit more confident that this is not going to kill me. But I realized that, one, I'm really strong mentally. Physically, I'm weakened, but mentally, I'm strong. So I think that keeps me going, because I think once the mental goes, the physical goes right along with it. So I think once I keep my mental strong and positive and doing other things to distract myself, whether it be doing things with my boys, hanging out with my boyfriend, doing this wonderful show, anything to keep me going, I think that helps mentally.
Definitely. And I can understand that for sure. I can say that was kind of my story too. The first time I didn't really have an emotion. I kind of got through it because it was just a very easy, well, not easy, because there was nothing easy about the first journey. I had a double mastectomy. People, that there's nothing easy about that. But I think because I felt like I had escaped death, it was a little bit different. This time around, I actually cried. And I will never forget the day when I told my wife and I told my brother. I just cried like a baby because I couldn't believe for a second time I was dealing with this. So I understand exactly what you feel. Talk about your YouTube channel, because a lot of people don't know you're like a famous person on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm a big fan. And that was one of the reasons why I was very adamant about having you on the show, because your journey, your story, your transparency, and your beauty was one of the things that I admired even before knowing that I had metastatic breast cancer. And so talk about what was your messages and your intentions to your viewers when you started your YouTube channel.
So I started a YouTube channel in 2020 during COVID, because honestly, I felt I was losing it mentally. I was at home. I had my kids with me. I was around my mom. I wasn't around coworkers. I have a very small circle of friends, maybe just 2. And I was like, I can't take it. And finding out I was diagnosed the second time, it was like, who do I talk to about this? I went into getting counseling, but it wasn't the same with talking to someone who actually experienced it. And I think a part of me was always fearful of letting the world or people that was really close to me, other people other than my family, know. So prior to going, into having this YouTube channel, people who saw me on Instagram or Facebook didn't know I even went through this at all. So during COVID, I was like, why don't I share my story? Maybe I could meet other people to talk about this, because this is the third time. And I just one day did it. And I had such a huge impact where people from Africa, all around the world, were contacting me. So I started doing videos to educate women with transparency and letting them know this is the type of cancer I had, that you could still look good going through breast cancer. You don't have to feel like you're no longer attractive, or, there's this poster look, kind of like, oh, you kind of have the bald head, no eyelashes, very skinny. I'm sad to say, the alien look. And I wanted to be like, no, you could be fabulous. So I thought of a good YouTube channel, which is Surviving Breast Cancer in Stilettos, because stilettos are high, sexy, and very powerful. So I thought of that name, and I just started sharing my story on YouTube and Instagram just to let other women know it's okay. And this is not the end. This is not a death sentence. You can still be beautiful. You can still be positive. You can have good times. You can have bad times. You can laugh. You can enjoy. And I think I try to make my channel informative, but a little bit lighthearted, where it's all, if you look at my videos, not everything's about breast cancer, because I'm not just a breast cancer survivor. I'm a mother, I'm a friend, I'm a boss at work, I'm a daughter. I have so many other hats that I wear, and I didn't want it to be like, oh, Farrah, the woman with breast cancer. So I wanted to share my story, but also have the people who are following and viewing my YouTube channels look, I have a personality. I have other things going on in my life that I wanted to share. So my YouTube channel is it's not just breast cancer. I kind of try to talk about every other topic that women go through on a whole.
Absolutely. And that's so first of all, that's admirable from somebody
Yeah.
like me who started That's Life for a very similar reason. I started That's Life just to be a community show to talk about things that were important.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is important, obviously, because this is an aspect of my life, is breast cancer. But I also started the show, like you said, to keep it light because COVID-19 definitely put a spotlight on just how we were as a people. We were so focused in our little bubble and we weren't thinking about the community as a mass. And so
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. If you guys get a chance, we're going to put the plug in on it later on too,
Okay.
but I want you to check out Farrah's Instagram page and her YouTube channel. It's an amazing, I love it. Every chance I
Thank
can
you.
get to see it, I try to see it. Of course, I like you wearing multiple hats. I'm a mom, a chef, an author, so you have to learn how to kind of juggle things.
Mm-hmm.
But you are more than just a breast cancer survivor. You're definitely someone
Right.
that has all these other hats that you can wear. What is something that you would say to encourage someone who's having a difficult time in their journey? Because we know that cancer is something that has hit everyone from the celebrities to the unknown people. What is something you would say to encourage somebody right now in their journey, whether that be breast cancer or just any illness in general?
My first thing is seek mental help and be transparent. I think what for me, it's being strong. We tend to, oh, I have to be strong and hide and cry in a room and not let anyone know that this is breaking me apart. We try to hide the truth from our children, our loved ones. And I think if you're going through anything, anyone who's listening, watching this, is finding that one person, whether it be a therapist, a good friend, to lean on and be honest and transparent. And if you cry, you need to cry. If you need to be like, oh my God, I can't take it, be honest and not hold everything in, because eventually that's what builds anxiety. That's what builds panic attack. And that could lead to other type of medical issues, high blood pressure, anything else. So I think mental wellness is extremely important. So I would say anyone who's going through anything, and again, it's not, sometimes insurance doesn't cover it. Sometimes it's hard to find, but even platforms like this, and I tell that to anyone who's followed me, reach out. So I've had people say, look, I need someone to talk to. I've actually said, here's my number, give me a call. Here I am, let's do a live. So I think reaching out, if you have medical, getting, seeing a psychologist, seeing a counselor, speaking to your pastor at church, just making sure you're mentally there, meaning you're not losing it, where you're not constantly having negative thoughts and thinking you're going to make it. Think of all the other women like myself who's surviving this, and just Leah, everyone who survived this. And I would also say not think so much about the statistics, because with me, it was like I was seeing more who died and who survived. So look for women, and I have to say this as African American women, look for women who look like you, who have the same issues. And I'm not saying with cancer, it doesn't matter your color. It doesn't matter about your race. But I think for me, I wanted to talk to other women that look like me. When I say look like me, African American, because there are certain things I feel I was able to relate with more so, meaning, what is the good hair products that I need to use to have my hair look at? What is the good makeup that I need to use to hide the discoloration that's happening in my face? Where are you buying some of your bras? It was like certain things I could read, and I wanted to see people that looked like me, that was my age group, that was able to survive, that was doing well. So I think that helped, because a lot of the times, like I said, what I saw weren't people that looked like me. They were much older. They had grandchildren. They weren't worried so much about sometimes how they look physically. Because I remember one time I went to counseling, and this is when I first was diagnosed. And I was the youngest and the only African American woman there. And I sat there and I said, all the women talk about their breasts and stuff. And I said, well, I'm worried about how am I going to look physically? And they kind of looked at me like, you're worried about your physical appearance and whether you're not going to, if you're going to make it. And I'm like, someone in my age at 33, yeah, that was one of my thoughts. But I felt like if I was maybe speaking to a crowd of younger women, we would have been able to relate. So I try to talk to women that I feel like they have kids. That's another thing, because sometimes I feel like speaking to some women who's going through the same journey who may be single, it's kind of like they had that, like, oh my God, I can't have any kids. And here I am saying, oh my God, how do I tell my kids this? How do I do it? So I try to find someone who have similarities that in their lives, common interests. I think that also helps.
Definitely, for sure. And I'll tell you, and I'll piggyback off of something that someone told me when I started my first journey and when I started my second journey. It's okay to not be okay.
Yes.
Sometimes it's okay to not be okay. What it's not okay to do is to sit in that. You have to do something to deprogram the thoughts that's in your mind, because sometimes your mind plays a lot of games with you. And so you have to do something that's going to encourage you, whether, like you said, that is to go play with your kids. Mine was to dance. I would dance, my heart content. I have so many videos of me dancing in my first go around. Yes. I was dealing with cancer, because that was the one thing that I knew that would give me some type of reprieve from the pressures that I was feeling. So find something, but always remember, it's okay to not be okay.
Correct.
So just keep that in your mind. We're going to take another quick break. And as you know, we have our new minute segments that we have on our show. We are super excited about these. We're going to teach you some things on the little minute segment. So without further ado, Minute with the Flavor King. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Yuri, and welcome to Minute with the Flavor King. Cooking is one of my favorite things to do. I love spices, but many people don't know the difference between seasoning and flavor. So here's the difference. To season is to bring out the natural flavor of the food without changing it. Seasonings are added near the end of cooking. Seasonings include salt, pepper, and acid. Flavoring changes the original flavor of the food. It can be used to create a unique flavor. Flavorings include chili powder, lemon pepper, garlic powder, and chives. So whether you season or flavor, have fun with cooking.
You ever just dream big, dream real big? I mean, I wonder what that would look like. I think the best part about being behind the camera and figuring it all out is getting the pieces, collecting all of the pieces that make the puzzle a complete picture. How do you make it all come together? Situations, scenarios, and different things on the screen. What is it that you want to do? When it's time to actually be creative, collaboration is key. You can count on me to help turn that vision into reality.
Welcome to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. And accepting who you are. Accept who you are. Guess what? I accept who I am because I have tattoos. And I am who I am.
Right.
With all my art.
I
Ephesians 2:10. For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus. so we can do the things He had planned for us long ago. Thank Welcome back to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach, with my very special guest, Mrs. Farrah. Thank you for tuning into our show about breast cancer awareness. It is here to encourage you, but we also want to make sure that you are doing what is necessary to take care of yourself. Ladies, please. And this is also for gentlemen too, because a lot of people think breast cancer is just isolated to women. It is not, people. Men can get breast cancer as well. Okay. So please make sure that you do your mammograms and all your self checkups when it comes to your health. It's very important and critical that you do that. So before we kick into our last group of tips, and we always come with some things to help you on your journey. Farrah, here's a question I have for you. What was something that you learned in your journey during all of this, whether at the beginning, the middle, or the end?
What I've learned, and I'm still learning, is that I am extremely strong, stronger than I thought I could ever imagine. Because I know before I was diagnosed, I would watch TV and be like, if that ever happened to me, there's no way. Like, how do these women do it? And I think it's when you're in it, you realize how strong you are, because I've been through a lot and I'm still here. I'm still mentally sane. I'm still able to get up in the morning, do my work efficiently, be around my kids. I mean, I have my days. A lot of times, like, oh my God, you're so strong. I have days I cry, I'm down. I sometimes think I'm depressed. I have those days, but I've learned how to navigate and also get out of those situations where if I'm day one, I'm sad. Day two, by day three, I'm like, get up. Go do something, watch a movie, find a book, work out. I'm always looking for something to keep my mind going. So I think with me, I'm proud of myself. I don't give myself sometimes enough credit and say, wow, you made it. You're tough. You keep going. You're mentally doing it and you're physically doing it. So I think what I've learned as a journey is I'm way stronger than I thought I was. And I'm one of the strongest people that I know. So I think that I am. So, I mean, overall, like my family, no one's having it and educating other people. And I think with me, I'm proud of my strength. And when I say strength, my mental strength, because I know the chemo weakens your body, but I think being mentally strong helps me get physically stronger too.
Definitely. I think like you, strength is a big one. And I think transparency is important too. I completely agree that far too often when people go through things, they do it in the dark. And one of the things that was very important to me about my journey was to be transparent about good and bad. When I wrote my first book, I can tell you, it was one of those things where I was nervous about the notion of letting people come into my heart, in my head about what I was thinking and what I was going through. And I didn't want people to go, oh, woe is Leah that she went through cancer. We should baby her. We should coddle her. And even now, that I'm going through this, I still don't want people to do that. I get very angry with my family when they coddle me. And the reason being is because, like you said, when you've gone through something like this, you know what your own strength is. You know what you're capable of in your own strength. And so a lot of times I pushed myself. I will say this, a lot of people don't know this. So this is going to be the first time many people heard this. I basically couldn't walk for about a month and a half. I couldn't lift my leg. I couldn't do anything. It was to the point I was taking my right arm or my right hand to pull my right leg up into the car. And one of the things that I realized in that moment was that at any given point, things can change and shift. And no matter how they change and shift, you have the mental capacity, the spiritual capacity to pull yourself out of that. I'm glad to say that I've been walking without assistance for now almost 3 weeks. Was it tough, people? Absolutely. I cried every single day, got frustrated, but I was determined to make sure that I'm walking and doing the things that I had to do. Plus, I had motivation. I had kids, I had a spouse, I have nieces and nephews that I have to run behind. Those are the things that keep me motivated. So I would say be transparent, but also be willing to see this thing in multiple different visions, right? So for me, it was being transparent, but also realizing that if you're not strong today, it's okay to not be strong today, but pick yourself up, like Farrah said, and do something different so that you can get out of the weeds and get on this journey that you're going for. And that's for anything. That's not just for breast cancer. That's in anything that you're going through, whether you're dealing with COVID-19 or whatever that is. So just pick yourself up by the bootstraps and keep moving. Okay. Now, we always bring the tips. These tips were important to me because I feel that particularly, and as Farrah said, women of color, we tend to not take care of ourselves. So now I'm going to give you some tips and things that you can do. Now, are these dead set tips? No, but these are some things that you can do to kind of help you. Okay. So, number one, perform monthly breast self exams. Now, I'll admit, and I don't know, Farrah, this was something you had going on. I didn't know how to give myself a self exam at all. So it was one of those things that I had to actually ask my doctor, how do you do a self exam? What does that look like? What am I supposed to be feeling for? And particularly of women of color, we have lumpy breasts. Just is what it is. We were born with that. That's part of our genealogy. And so if you don't know how to do a self breast exam, go to your doctor. They will teach you. There's all types of tutorials and things that you can look online. I say go directly to your doctor, go to the source and get help on how to do your monthly exam by yourself. Again, you can always go to your doctor because your doctor will be able to tell you how to do things, but do this if you haven't gotten to that point where you need to do your mammogram, because of course there's different statistics on that too. I've been told that you can do a mammogram as early as 40. Some people say 60, some people say 50.
That's late 60.
60 is so late. Like, let's look at both of us. I was 37 years old when I was diagnosed. How old were you when you were diagnosed?
I was diagnosed when I was 32, going on 33. So that's 60. That's too old to go start getting mammograms.
And imagine if we didn't go find out in our 30s where we would be.
Not
That
here.
We would be a
I
whole
know I
nother
wouldn't.
topic.
Yeah.
A whole
It
nother topic.
would be no topic.
None. So
Unfortunately.
absolutely. So make sure that you go and find out about self breast examination. Number 2, receive regular mammograms. Now, here's what we were talking about. If you have one or more than one risk factor over a certain age, that's where you want to get a mammogram. Now, I struggle with this one, but I'm going to say, because I have to say it for women, you should go and get a mammogram. Now, I believe if you have a history of breast cancer, you need to go and get checked. If you feel something's not right, women, we have intuition. We know when something's not right. I know I felt that intuition when I first got diagnosed. How about you, Farrah? Did you have that intuition of knowing?
Yeah, the minute I felt the lump in my breast, I was like, I have breast cancer. I didn't have to second guess. I was more like, this doesn't feel right. This is foreign. This is not what my breast's supposed to feel like. So I knew right away.
Yeah, and for me, it was, I didn't know right away, but I knew instinctively something was wrong. I just knew, you just know when something is wrong. So don't hesitate. If you know something's wrong, go and see your doctor. Now, here's the other part, and I'm going to say this because I probably will get in trouble when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Press your doctor. You are your biggest advocate. If your doctor tells you, no, you're too young to get a mammogram, because guess what? I heard that. I heard, oh, you're too young to get a mammogram. You shouldn't be doing that. Press your doctors. You know your body instinctively better than any other person other than God himself. True. So make sure that you push your doctor if you need to get a mammogram. Number 3, wear a properly fitted bra. Make sure you are measured properly for the best fit. Now, a lot of people are going to laugh when I say this, and I hope that they do. I had some chi-chis, people, before I had my double mastectomy. I was a 44 double H. I had hooters. I had some serious girls. And what happened was I used to wear the worst bras for support. Bras are important. I know we don't like them, but guess what? They were created for us. So please get the right support that you need. I even tell people, go to the stores that you can go to get properly measured. A lot of time we don't even know what our bust size are. So make sure that you go to the store and get the proper fit for your bra. Number 4, maintain a safe weight. That's a very big one when it comes to breast cancer. Obesity is extremely important, and they actually say the statistics about that is that the more obese that you are, the more likely that you are going to develop breast cancer. Now, here's the crazy part. Farrah don't look obese, does she, people?
I was never obese. That's what I'm like, really?
So I struggle with that one, but I will say maintain a healthy weight. It is important, not even just for breast cancer, but just in general as a whole. You want to make sure that you're maintaining a good, healthy weight. What that looks like for you is whatever that looks like for you. But you know when you're out of shape, you know when you're eating in excess, you know that you're doing something wrong when you're not drinking. I'm going to show this. This is my favorite thing in the world, water. Your body is made of 80% of water. See? 80% of water, people. Stop filling it up with the Cokes and the rum. It's okay to have a rum and Coke every so often, or whatever you want to drink, whatever you choose to drink. But your body is made up of 80% water. That's what should be going in it, not a bunch of liquor or juice or soda. Number 5, exercise regularly. They say the statistics is if you exercise at least 150 minutes per week or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise, it decreases your chances of breast cancer. I'm not saying that it won't, but exercising is actually a good thing. I've never said a time limit. This is what I will say to you. Do something simple that was going to help your life. For me, that was walking. I love to walk. I love sweat equity. So walking around my neighborhood felt comfortably to me. What's something that you do, Farrah? And it might not even be exercise, something that you do that keeps your energy going, but it also helps with your mental health and your physical health.
Dancing. I love to dance, throwing the old school jams and dancing. But through a little bit right after COVID, I joined a boot camp class, so that helps. So I've been on this, I guess, exercise journey now. I've been going to boot camp like 5 days out of the week. So I'm trying to see how often I can work out and work out as much as often as I can, because I work from home. So I'm not commuting. I'm not walking from one conference room to another. I'm basically in my, office working throughout the whole day. So I find that I have to constantly try to work out, because if I'm working 8 hours and I've been sitting for the whole 8 hours only when I need to use the bathroom or get something to eat, my body, blood circulation, everything. So I go to the gym, and that helps mentally and physically.
Definitely. And I'm a big proponent. We talk about self-care all the time on this show.
Yeah.
I pour about self-care. Self-care is the best care. You don't have to do anything extreme. Nobody's telling you to go join up for Planet Fitness and, do extreme aerobics. If that's what you choose to do that. But do something that's going to give you the strength to be able to get through your day, but also reset your mental wellness and your spiritual wellness as well as your physical. So don't do anything strenuous. I'm a walker. That's what I know I can do. I can dance too. I love to dance, as you all heard me say earlier. That's something that also helped me on this journey. The next one, number 6, reduce fat intake. Eat more fruits and veggies and high in fiber foods. One of the things I chose to do is I went vegetarian. Has it been difficult, people? Absolutely.
Can't do it. I'm eating healthier, but just veggies, I can't. Not yet. I'm not there yet.
It was the hardest decision I ever made for my life. But I will say it has been one of the most fulfilling decisions I've ever made for my life. And the reason being is that I was an emotional eater. So what I was doing was I was going to the Chick-fil-A's and the Popeyes and all these places that I knew I should not be eating this food, people. I shouldn't be eating it, but I wanted to eat it. But the problem with that is that not only was it hurting me physically, it was also hurting me mentally, because I was going to bed and I wasn't feeling good when I went to bed. So you want to make sure you're eating a balanced diet. I will say it that way. Eat a balanced diet. You don't want to spend your time eating a lot of fried foods. That's actually not good for you anyway. It's not good for your heart. It's definitely not good for your breast. It's not good for any parts of your body. Just find something that you can do. And I admire you for talking about the fact that you went vegan, because I have a sister who is completely raw.
No, I haven't gone vegan. I tried. I can't.
I can't. Listen, you're just like me. I love my ice cream too much, and I'm not.
I can't do it.
And I admire anybody who does. There's no shock to the people that are vegan. Like I said, I have a sister who's raw vegan, has been for
Wow.
now over 2 years. I admire her. I just love my ice cream. I just gotta
Can't
do
do
what I gotta do. It is what it is.
it.
Number seven, keep alcohol consumption to a minimum. They say this actually raises your estrogen levels and increase
Oh,
risk of breast cancer. Now, that's not to say you can't have alcohol, people.
I didn't
Just
know that.
obviously do things in moderation. We talk about moderation all the time on this show. When you do things, when you eat, you drink, just do things in moderation. This, like I said, has become my very best friend. Water has been the thing that has helped me. Do I miss having a glass of wine? Of course, but do things again in moderation and keep that in mind when you do things. Okay. Number eight, stop smoking. This goes without actually saying because not only does it help you with breast cancer, it helps you with lung cancer and all the other cancers. And it is a main culprit to all disease, including, not excluding, breast cancer. And number nine, which is the most important one, if you see changes, go to your doctor and press them to check you out. Call your doctor. I am a big proponent on this show about physical wellness. Our people, we do a terrible job of not going to the doctor. We wait and wait and wait and wait until we get really sick before we actually go. So please, I'm imploring you to go to the doctor if you don't feel well. Farrah, before we close the show, I have two questions for you. So my first
Sure.
one was, what was the best advice you received while you were on your journey?
I have to say, throughout my journey, I wasn't able to connect with a lot of women who had breast cancer, and it might be a shocker. I can't recall what was the best advice I received because I didn't have anyone who had breast cancer. I wasn't familiar. I was using this platform that I'm using now to connect with other women that could give me advice. But I was watching a show, and there was a woman, African American, young, of the same Haitian background, which I am, and she mentioned about eating healthier, cutting out red meat, and not eating chicken. And I don't know, I just connected with her, and it was like, wow, she's doing that. And I know, with me being from a Caribbean background, we love meat. Anything that has meat, we're gonna eat it. So when she said that she was able to do it, I was like, let me try it, and I did. I mean, I watched this woman. I can't remember her name now. The second time I was diagnosed, and I stopped cold turkey. I was like, that's it. I'm going to stop eating meat and stop. I mean, it was hard. I mean, I was depressed for months, but I did it. So I think this person, just watching this person on TV, that was the best advice, changing my diet. And again, when I watched her talk, she said it's all mental. It's mental, knowing what to eat and what not to eat. It's mental. I think a lot of us don't think it's so mental. It's like, oh, I have to do it. I can't. So I have to say that was probably the best advice I received throughout my journey, is changing the way that I eat and think differently about food. Not that I have to have it. No, you don't. I don't have to eat that big piece of chicken. I could supplement and eat something else. So I think that was the best advice I've gotten.
And definitely, I understand that struggle. We got more in common than we can even imagine.
Yeah.
I, again, come from a Caribbean background. My mother is Costa Rican.
Oh,
Everything is rice and peas and
ooh,
curried and stewed. And that was one of the
right.
hardest things for me when I transitioned from being a meat eater to vegetarian, because I wanted my curry chicken. I still desire my curry chicken on a regular basis, but I just find ways to substitute. What is something, if you could say anything to viewers right now, specifically those dealing with breast cancer, because of course we're talking about breast cancer today, what would you say to them right now if you could say anything?
Don't give up. There's going to be days you're going to feel like it's the end. There's going to be days you're going to feel down. There's going to be days where you're like, why me? You're going to have a lot of tough days, but don't give up. You're worth too much in this world. You're loved by many. And there are days you feel like there are people out there, unfortunately, that are, have breast cancer and don't have anyone. And this is exactly why I have my Instagram, my YouTube channel. You need someone to talk to, reach out and just stay positive. Again, mental wellness is extremely important. Knowing that you have a purpose, like Leah said before, knowing that you were giving, this happened to you not because it just happened. There's a reason behind it. Find out what your purpose is. We all have a purpose, whether it be helping one person. This video that we're doing, this chat, even if it's helping out just one person today, or even a couple of years, YouTube, 5 years from now, someone could watch this video and be like, oh my God, Farrah Leah really told me and helped me get along. And move on with this. So I think it's never giving up, and you're strong. Never feel like you can't do it. Never feel like you're not strong enough to do it, because you are. We're women. We're strong. We can do whatever. We're strong. You have to realize that you are extremely strong mentally and physically, and never, and I say never, give up.
Definitely. I tell people all the time, we birth nations. So if we can birth nations,
Yes.
we can get through pretty much anything that there is to get through. Give the plug to where they can find you on Instagram and on YouTube, Farrah.
So my Instagram is at surviving breast cancer _, and my YouTube channel is surviving breast cancer in stilettos.
And y'all gotta check it out, because I'm telling you, that was when I first saw this, I was like, yeah, I gotta get her on my show, because she is something serious. I admire you, my sister, my fellow sister, my fellow survivor. I admire you. You keep going on this journey no matter how it gets, because you're going to get through this. You got the strength of a warrior. So,
me too.
And now we're going to end our show. And I always end with a Bible verse and a quote, but I'm also going to end with a picture. These two women are my sheroes. Both of these women have gone on to be with God, and I am so thankful that they were a part of my life. So I'm going to start with the person to my right, your left. Her name is Joy. And she was a joy to my life. I met her actually through a family member of mine, my cousin, and she invited me to her commemorated event that she had every single year called Divas Fighting Cancer. And I never knew her, never had an opportunity to talk to her before this event. And when I met her, we instantly became friends. She was a person who I admired. She went through cancer, kicked cancer in the butt, and it just came back aggressively, and she later passed away. And I can just say she was somebody I admired with my whole entire heart. As you can see in that picture, I had just had my double mastectomy not even about 6 months prior. And so I admire her. Rest in peace, Joy. I miss you every single day. The person to my left, your right, is my aunt. She was the person that had breast cancer in my family and my bloodline. And I missed her. I miss her more than I can say. And I'm going to try to keep it together, because I know she would expect that of me. She was the most beautiful soul, as she always called herself, the most beautiful one in the family. I miss my Aunt Lynette. She is the person that inspired me to not only do That's Life, but she inspired me to be the person that I am today. So I thank God for her and the influence that she had into my life, and the influence that she had in my life. And again, I wanted to show you my sheroes, because both of these women not only kicked cancer in the butt, but they showed what grace and integrity and dignity looked like while they were going through it. And they were in a lot of pain, both of them, but you never knew it, because they both had a disposition and a spirit that would just light your life. Okay, so I just wanted to show you my sheroes. So we're going to end with our quote of the day. And this quote is from one of my other sheroes, Mrs. Robin Roberts. It takes courage to believe that the best is yet to come. If you're going through whatever you're going through, remember the best is still yet to come. John 14:27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Thank you so much for tuning into our show about breast cancer awareness. Remember, you can beat this no matter what you're going through, whether it's breast cancer, whether it's cancer in general, you can win. God gave you the strength and the ability to be able to push through it, and you're going to get through it. And you have all the strength from me and all the strength from Farrah to be able to get through this journey, and you won't do it by yourself. We love you. Until next time, tune in next Saturday as we talk about struggling with spirituality, ironically, with my very special guest, Pastor Bruce Frazier. I'm super excited about having BJ on the show. He's going to give you some tips and tools if you're struggling with your spirituality, because we all struggle. We all struggle internally, but we're going to get through this journey together. Until next time, make butterflies moves daily. Bye, everybody.
Bye.